All right, let's talk about something we all deal with, but maybe don't think about too deeply: the project schedule. We tend to see it as just a spreadsheet, right? A necessary chore. But what if it's way more than that? What if a great schedule is actually a philosophy in action? That's what we're going to dig into. So let's just start with the most basic question. Seriously, when I say project schedule, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? What is it, really? For most people, it's probably this, a list of tasks, a bunch of dates, maybe a fancy Gantt chart. It's this document we create at the start, and let's be honest, it often gets filed away and ignored pretty quickly after that. But what if we look at it from a completely different angle? What if a schedule is actually the living, breathing story of your project's journey? I mean it. Just making that one mental shift can totally change how you approach everything. Okay, so to really get that, let's break down the anatomy of a schedule that actually works. We're talking about a foundation that goes way, way beyond a simple to-do list. A truly great schedule is described as a living expression. See, it's not just a static plan. It's this dynamic thing that reflects your team's discipline, your ability to think logically, your deep understanding of the contract, and most importantly, how you're adapting to what's really happening out in the field. So what separates a good schedule from a weak one? Well, it really comes down to these four things. Is it complete? Does it cover absolutely everything? Is the logic sound? Do the steps actually connect in a way that makes sense? Is it realistic, or is it just a bunch of wishful thinking? And finally, does it line up with what the contract actually says you have to do? But here's the thing. You only find out how good a schedule really is when you put it under pressure. This is where the rubber meets the road, and you see that critical difference between a static piece of paper and a truly dynamic tool. Because, reality is messy. No project ever goes exactly according to plan. You're going to have bad weather, you're going to have some tasks that finish way ahead of schedule, and conditions are just going to shift under your feet. It's inevitable. The real question is, how does your schedule handle that chaos? And this is what happens when that pressure hits. A static schedule just breaks. It becomes totally irrelevant, completely disconnected from what's actually happening. And even worse, it starts to hide the truth. But a dynamic schedule, it's built to adapt. It becomes this powerful instrument that doesn't hide the truth, it reveals it. Now, this idea of revealing the truth becomes incredibly important when the stakes are high. This is where your schedule stops being just a management tool and turns into a critical piece of evidence. Think about this quote for a second. When things get contentious, when there are disputes and millions of dollars on the line, the schedule isn't a chart anymore. It's the official story of the project. It becomes a narrative that people will literally fight over in a legal battleground. In those situations, looking at a schedule isn't some academic exercise. You've got lawyers and experts tearing it apart, piece by piece, trying to figure out what actually happened. A strong, dynamic schedule helps you prove that truth. A weak one, it just makes things confusing and could end up costing you a fortune. So, all of this leads us to one final, really crucial idea. Scheduling isn't just some technical task you hand off to someone who knows the software. It is a true craft. It's a discipline that needs a real philosophy of action behind it. And at the absolute core of that philosophy is truth. A good schedule is not a sales document filled with hopeful guesses. It is an honest-to-goodness reflection of the plan and the progress. And because it tells the truth, it acts like a shield. It protects the team from crazy, unrealistic expectations, and it protects the contractor by creating a factual record of what happened when things inevitably go sideways. This is such a powerful shift. It's about moving from being reactive to being proactive. A great schedule is a strategic tool. You use it to see what's coming down the road and make smart decisions before you have to, not just to document the fallout from bad ones. And this, right here, is its ultimate power. Projects are complicated, chaotic messes. A well-crafted schedule cuts right through all that noise. It takes all that complexity and gives you a clear, logical path forward. But at the end of the day, we have to remember this: the schedule itself is not the goal. A beautiful schedule is worthless if the project fails. Successful project delivery, that's the goal. The schedule is just one of the most powerful tools we have to make that happen. And so, I'll leave you with this one thought to take with you. The next time you look at a schedule, one you're working on or one you're reviewing, just stop and ask yourself this simple but incredibly powerful question: does this tell the truth?